What's up, party people? Today we're going to be looking at Dekaron's Akris Hunt update. This update brings us a new farmable item via Akris, as well as a way to obtain Cacao for upgrading your Deka line ring. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any future content. Let's get this party started. Alright guys, let's do what we always do and delve a little bit more into this update. So, smaller update this week for sure, but they said with the anniversary celebration going on and lasting another week, this week's update is relatively minor. So they are mentioning that this is a minor update, so we can't be too harsh on it. But they do say there's a couple things that will pipe our, or they hope will pipe our interest. So, first thing first is, Offical, the guy who exchanges for wings that no one actually uses, has a new exchange option. And this exchange option exchanges these intact Akris hoofs that are supposed to be dropping from Akris for Crest powder that can be used on the Crest machine. Now, this is really interesting because the Crest machine doesn't really have very good crests in it. There's maybe like one decent crest in it. I think it's like a 20% all attack orange. I would say that's like the only crest in there that's even remotely useful. And I just want to understand the point of farming this. And it's kind of funny here because they say that Kerman's crests aren't anything special and Akris aren't tempting targets as they used to be. Nonetheless, we can't help but wonder what Offical is up to. This is like a really weird thing to say because they're saying like basically this update is useless, but we're not sure what this NPC is up to, but that doesn't make any sense because you're the ones that control what he does. I don't know if they're hinting at the fact that the crests will get changed at some point. I mean, if they made them better crests, that would be kind of cool, although I'd still hate it because it's like a random lottery thing, and I can't stand that. But this is interesting to me. It just makes me wonder if they're hinting at something. I don't know if they are or not, but I do find it interesting. Now, these intact Akris hoofs drop, and they can be exchanged for 200 Crest powder. I'm pretty sure it says it here somewhere. I don't know why I'm not seeing it, but I'm fairly certain that they exchange for 200 Crest powder, which is just enough to exchange for one roll. So like that's pretty decent. Now my only issue here is I went and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get one of these Akris hoofs. So I went and I spent, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so killing Akris. It took me a while to find some good spawns of them, but I managed to have some luck in Aquarius. And even after doing this for 20 minutes and killing a bunch of these Akris, I did not see a single Akris hoof. So, just gonna be honest, I got bored and I stopped trying to do it because all that time farming is not even remotely worth it, even for one hoof. So I don't know. The update kind of seems useless to me. It's not how I think we should be handling crests. So. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not very impressed with that at all, and I don't think it's very good. But I guess it was a fun idea, but it doesn't seem rewarding enough to participate in, so I will not be. The Dekaron Fisherman is booked for another week in Tristy, but player feedback has been that the required items aren't common enough, even for full-time fishers. You know it's bad when even the people who are spending money on the rods aren't happy with what they're getting. And they tripled the rate, but we don't know what that rate actually is. So, you know, like 0.01% could be 0.03%, which really is not much better. So I have no idea. I doubt it's much better, and I still have no interest in participating in fishing because I have to spend money to do it. So not going to be doing it. This is probably, I think, one of the better things about this update. So for the lucky few of you who possess the Moonlight earring, there's a way to re-roll it now. Now this earring is extremely hard to farm, like extremely hard to farm. You need lots of different items to do it. It takes a lot of work. If you have it, good on you. And I definitely think it should be re-rollable. So I'm very happy that they added this in. This does seem kind of like a high requirement to re-roll it, especially since it's already a very hard earring to get. I don't think it should be that hard to re-roll, but it's better than nothing, so I would say that's a fairly nice addition to the game for sure. Now, there are a couple of these shop things, and there isn't anything too special here, but there's one thing I want to rant about. So the first thing here is there's just some random boxes added. So you got Zudo's Glory random boxes you can see here. Looks like some like enhancing stuff for belts and bracelets. I guess it's okay. You can buy multiple of them. You got a belt and bracelet stone and belt and bracelet stone. Now what's interesting about the belt and bracelet stones is there's also these runes in here too, which are triggerable runes that I think they, it's just interesting. And instead of being a single rune, like they deplete, which I actually don't really like because, at least before with runes, like you just get to keep them. They don't deplete, like you get them for like a certain amount of days. So I don't know if I'm a big fan of that. But anyway, to stack additional experience, I guess is good. But I mean, they're only obtainable in the D shop anyway, so whatever. Now, Decaline ring. This is what I want to talk about, and this is what I hate. So, the Decaline ring is a very useful early game PvE item. And late game, like, it's still okay, but honestly, most late game players aren't going to be using this item because there's better items that they can use, and they can get monster damage tolerance in different ways. So, I don't know why this ring has to be so hard to get to the final upgrade. Now, when this ring was originally released, all of the upgrades up to the Transcendental or whatever, Transcendental, I think I'm pronouncing that right, just required seeds. And that was a really good system. It was a lot of seeds, but it was a good system. And as around the time they made seeds easier to get, they changed the final upgrade, and I have no idea why. They changed it to require 500 cacao. Now, I want to look at this, okay? The cacao, or the cacao is not farmable in game in any way, but now you can buy 100 cacao for 500 DKC, which means to fully upgrade the final stage, you are going to be paying a minimum of $30 to get a very small upgrade to this ring. It's like 3% monster damage tolerance. I'll put some graphics up on the screen, but it's like 3% monster damage tolerance, a little bit more critical damage, a little bit more block, whatever. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit better, but it's not worth $30. That is absolutely ridiculous, and they didn't even make the cacao tradable. I don't understand. Like, why are you making this ring, like, just, I don't know, bruh. Like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is that upgrade $30? It's just dumb. I'm sorry, it's just absolutely dumb, and it is terrible value. Terrible, terrible value. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, I think it only requires 100 cacao, and I'm like, oh, you know, like $5, and you can get the final upgrade to the ring. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's more reasonable. I still think it should be farmable, but $5 is actually reasonable. But they're like, nah, guys. If you want this, like, couple percent increase, $30. $30. Come on, send it over. I'm sorry. I think that's absolutely terrible, and it's just upsetting to me. I'm just going to be completely honest. Okay, moving on. Last thing. The first stage of Helion was a success. What? And a success means that the server did not crash. Right. Okay, I will say that the server did not crash. As someone who tried to participate in the siege, it did kind of work. I mean, at least one guild was able to get in with no problem. The one I was participating with, and thank you, by the way, to that guild. It's like Salty or something like that. They invited me last second to join them, and that was very generous, so I could get some footage. However, most of us were not able to get in for some reason. It was kind of weird. I know some people are saying it was like a permission thing, but even like some of the leaders weren't able to get in. So like that doesn't really make sense. Why would the leader not have permission to get into the siege? I'm not sure. I don't know. All I know is no one changed my rank. All I had to do was switch servers, and then all of a sudden I was able to get in. It was weird. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, at least they were able to run Siege without it blowing up, so that's good. I will say, though, Siege for me was kind of like an eye-opening moment where it's like, yeah, I am miles behind the paying players. You know, if you watch my video, I run in and immediately get hit by like 90k, 120k, so I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't really see myself participating in this or with this again in the future. I might do it one more time just to get an idea of how the mechanics work, just so I can make a video about it. But I don't see myself participating in this a ton in the future because of that, you know, that huge gap. Since I'm not a massively paying player, you know, I'm not willing to shell out that much money. Anyway, guys, yeah, that's kind of this update for the week. They mentioned it was a small update, so we weren't expecting anything huge. I do like one thing I do really appreciate about what Dekaron is doing is they are being very consistent with weekly updates, which for such a small game is actually very impressive. Even though the updates aren't always great, I am appreciative of the fact that they are trying to continue updates going. I do wish that some of them would be a little, or would make a little more sense and not immediately be useless, like this Akris event or the Cacao event, but you know, the effort's there, and you know, I do appreciate that. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, as those, you can leave them in the comments. And until next time, take care.